At this time, we're back. Eric DeSobe here, joined by Kara. Kara, are we talent rivals? What would you say that we are? Talent friends?
I think we're talent friends at this
Talent
point, Eric.
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we've been friendly rivals for many years. You've worked in the education
Yeah.
space, running talent and finding good people to work in schools. But you made a recent, pretty big change in your life. Give folks the scoop.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here and share that, Eric. And also, you didn't ask me how long we've known each other, which I know you ask other people.
Oh, was
I think that's
20 years?
because the
15
answer
years?
is 20 years.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's
I'm
true.
I just had to put that out for there for the record.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have been working in the charter management industry for a long time, Eric, like you, and I'm about to enter sort of my 20th year of coming into that space, and actually made a decision last fall to exit in my chief of staff role at Ednovate and move into the consulting space over the summer. So big transition for me, but an exciting one, and I just feel ready for a new adventure.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of my talent friends at different times have kicked around this idea: do I want to go out on my own? Do I want to be a consultant? What were the things that you ended up prioritizing as you made the decision to take this jump?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think a lot of it for me was saying, what do I was really sort of this moment of saying, like, I'm going into my 20th year of being in this talent space. I've had the pleasure of working for three outstanding large charter organizations. And I was just ready to try something new, honestly. Felt like it was a time where I wanted to be able to grow and try other things and learn about new problems. And I think one of the fun things about the talent space in schools is like it is seasonal. You do have sort of a sense of what's coming up next for you, and what the fall is going to look like, what the spring is going to look like, what work you need to do over the summer. And that can be a great thing that creates a lot of like stability and structure when you're in the role. For me, I was also just ready to try something different, and I hope that in the consulting space I get to work with schools still, but I also hope to work with some organizations that are not schools
Hmm.
and just be in a space of learning more and understanding more, like, how do other organizations do things, how do other industries do this, and kind of get myself back in a learning seat in a lot of ways.
I'm curious about the other industry part. So, how do you crack into that? Do other industries count as like Netflix or Coca-Cola, or is it more like the healthcare world? Like, how do you
Yes.
see
If Netflix and Coca-Cola are listening to this, I am available. I'll give
she
you
is available? We'll put the
Um,
info in
so
the.
yeah, a couple things. One, like you, Eric, I'm lucky to have a large network of people here that are in the education space, both in LA and through the country. And so I really am relying on a lot of those relationships to make connections for me to other organizations. So
Mhm.
folks who maybe I worked with in the charter school space, but then moved into an ed tech space, or then moved into more nonprofit management, or moved into funder foundation spaces. So I wouldn't say for me yet I see a world where I'm doing sort of radically different work in a different space, but I am trying to broaden that network and leverage relationships with folks who's kind of moved into ed adjacent spaces. And then we'll see. I think if depending on how well the work I'm doing can translate to other spaces, I would be really excited to work with, say, like a healthcare organization or something that feels really a little further afield than the charter space.
Mhm. I feel like the most successful consultants I know who've kind of made this jump end up having a greatest hits package of sorts, right? And they're able to do those greatest hits locally
Yeah.
at first, and then it seems to expand like statewide and then across the country. What do you feel like your greatest hits package would be that folks should know about and try to make sure that they hear from
Well, thanks for asking that now because I'm just getting started. So I'll be really
you?
interested to watch this in like 3 years and
To see
see
if it worked out. Yeah.
see how accurate I was. But let's see if I can predict very
Yeah.
well. So a few places I'm most excited about the work that I enjoy doing the most, Eric. I think one is like people operations systems work. So helping folks take what could be disparate processes as a part of a talent life cycle and put them together in a system that really lives and breathes. And I think I'm passionate about that for a couple of reasons, Eric. But one is like, just the sustaining health of organizations, right? Like I think I want to have a people first approach to the work, but not so people centered that systems don't work if people change.
Yeah.
And so I think when you design really good systems, they endure and they last and they get better and better over time. And so people operations work, whether that's kind of HR adjacent or talent recruiting adjacent, I think is work I'm really passionate about. And another one that's pretty similar, I think, is just helping folks to sustain great annual practices for a support team. So helping them do thoughtful annual planning, help folks with systems that sit underneath, having resources, whether that's for onboarding folks or offboarding folks. And again, really helping to help organizations be learning organizations where they say, hey, we've already done this 10 times. Like, we know how to do this. How can we put that down on paper and make sure that then we can improve it, we can tweak it, we can pass it to someone else? And I think both of those things for me, Eric, are also related to probably the third place that I'm most interested in, which is really developing leaders and developing middle managers in organizations and helping give them the skills to grow in their organization. And I think especially when you're smaller nonprofits, that can be hard to pull off internally, right? It's like, we're all doing so much execution day to day that sometimes it can be tricky to figure out how to also develop people and build into stretch projects into their work and build new opportunities or new skill development. And I think that's work I'd just be really excited to help organizations think about and noodle on and create really great processes for.
This is a very weird job market era.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about in terms of talent and places of employment, trying to be smart about finding people or keeping people?
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like you and I both have also like seen this, like a lot of roller coaster of this in our careers now of where it goes. So, but this one's unique. I think a couple things. And if your listeners haven't yet listened to Brene Brown's podcast this weekend, she did the interview with New York Times, and she talks a little bit about different generations now in the workplace, and highly recommend. It's fascinating. But we are at an interesting moment where we've got like folks with different generations with really different priorities in the workplace. We've got, folks who are post pandemic still figuring out what they want from work and what hybrid, remote, in-person work looks like. And I think then we have a whole slew of upheaval because of where our country is right now in this moment of just so much change and uncertainty. And so, I think that my reflection on this really, Eric, is just like, what do leaders do in this moment? Because I don't have a crystal ball and know where this is headed. But I think what leaders have to do in this moment is just listen to their people deeply, figure out what their folks need. Don't be afraid to make some hard decisions sometimes. If you also see that your folks are lacking community and everybody tells you they don't want to be in the office, but they actually miss those relationships. Don't be afraid to make some hard decisions and figure out how to rebuild community in your organization. And really just, try to sit with folks and chew on this problem together and think about what does it look like to have a really great workplace for somebody who's, in their mid 40s and wants XYZ out of work, and what does it look like to have that for somebody who's 24 and just entering and needs a lot of development and support still. And I don't think there's a silver bullet for that, but I think that when organizations do thoughtful listening and they reflect back to people what they heard, and then they make a clear decision and have rationale for that, that gets you a lot of buy-in. And that's a great retention strategy, in my opinion, candidly. And I think that that's the kind of place people want to work, even if it's not perfect. They know that folks are thinking about them.
What's your LinkedIn strategy these days?
Don't spend too much time on it, because like any social media, it'll suck you right into some interesting rabbit holes. Yeah. But also just, I think, being back in touch with folks who I have loved working with in my career before, and dropping people a line to say hey, I'd love to reconnect and hear more about the next thing, celebrating people for new work they're doing, and sharing what I'm up to, and just saying to folks I'm really curious to see how we could partner again. I'm really lucky to worked with tons of fantastic folks who I genuinely would love to work with again. And I think that it's important just to not be afraid to reach out again, even if I haven't chatted with that person in 10 years, and say hey, I'd love to find 20 minutes. And honestly, I just find people, Eric, are so eager to connect and be in conversation together that that's my strategy. And I'd encourage other folks, just if you're not feeling super brave, just to reach out again and reconnect with people.
Last thing, what are you using AI for in your life, personally or professionally, these days?
Oh, all the things. Yeah. I think AI is, well, first of all, I use it to prep for this conversation. So,
okay, tell us how. Did you jump in on the episodes into?
I think that it's a great role play, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
what kind of questions might I be asked? I use it for if I am going to go in a conversation with somebody about a project, like helping AI can help me think about like, what are the phases I might think about? What are questions I should ask this org? I mean, I think it is an excellent thought partner in terms of just reflecting back a little bit. Now, obviously, I'm a people talent person, so I'm going to also go for that in-person meeting and build that relationship. But I think that it can be a really, really helpful tool to help prep and give you a lot of information quickly and help you practice conversations.
What do you think it'll be like for the consultant world piece of it? Will you generate like a ton more docs than you would have ever been able to in reality, or do you have to position yourself actually as the anti AI, like you need to hire me because of the human brain inside my head?
I mean, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say you can do both and on this one. I think that it can help me as a more individual contributor, like have resources and time and energy in a way that like normally I might have used a team to do, right? I might have had 3 or 4 people who can look at a question with me. So I think that it has a huge opportunity for that. At the same time, a lot of the consultant world from my short experience so far, but my experience being on the other side and working with consultants is also having a great thought partner who's going to listen and kind of sit in this space with you. And that is not, AI cannot do that yet, right? So it can be a practice for some basic information. It can give you some good questions to think through, but I don't think it can be the reflection back fully yet, and some of the like mirroring that folks may need to make a difficult conversation or a difficult decision as a leader. So I could be being naive about that. Again, we'll have to listen to this in 3 years and see what actually did. But I do think it's a really useful tool. And I think if folks learn how to use it well, it can help us be efficient while still giving us a foundation on which to build a good relationship that's more about interpersonal connection.
Yeah, well said. Well, how do folks find you? How do they hire you? How do they give you all the money to do all the consulting?
Well, I'm going to be so busy after this podcast when Netflix calls me that like, I don't know what to tell you. You have to get on the wait list. But otherwise, LinkedIn is a great way to find me, Kara Maguire on there, and send me a message if we're not connected already.
Yeah.
I'm happy to then shoot people my email and phone number to be in touch. But yeah, I'd love to connect. And if I haven't chatted with you in a while and you're listening to this, go back and listen to all of Eric's other At This Time podcasts because they're super fun.
There are some good ones. Yep. Check that out. We'll put the info in the episode description. And yeah, catch us on all the places you listen. Catch us on Stunning 4K on YouTube. All the past episodes are up, including last week's one, which had the most views of all time. So maybe we're on a hot streak here. Kara and I going viral here any minute. Thanks for coming on. And until next time.
Thanks for having me.